full disclaimer, I'm in the process of moving apartments. I've been cleaning for 3 hours, so if you hear me going like I'm slightly allergic to dust. Anyway, welcome to part 2 of my YG internship experience video. Part 1, as I mentioned, if you haven't watched it yet, the link is down below. Part 1 was basically answering questions about how I found out about it, what I did, that kind of thing. Part 2 is going to be a little bit more fun, just talking about the kind of crazy things that happened, which were inevitable if you're going to be doing an internship with YG. So without further ado, I'm going to go chronologically, or at least try to, so that the kind of episodes will all make sense. So as I mentioned in part 1, I wasn't given directions as far as how to get into the YG building. So I'm not an intern at this time. I was given a time slot for my interview and I showed up at the YG building. How you get to the YG building is you walk down a road and then it's kind of next to you. So you have to kind of do a U-turn to get into the building. And there's a big parking lot in front, and that kind of, or not big, it's a small parking lot, that leads into where the front door is. And so I'm kind of standing out there like, oh no, like I really didn't think this through. I don't know where I'm going. So there is a old Korean security guard sitting in like their little booth in the parking lot. And I kind of look at him like, what are you gonna do? And he kind of looked at me and then kind of looked away. So I was like, oh, you're helpful. So I wasn't gonna ask him like, excuse me, where do I go? Because I, again, didn't speak Korean at this point. So I just confidently walked to the front door. I don't know if it was like a keypad or like an eye scanner, fingerprint, whatever it was. There was a pad next to the automatic door and I couldn't get in. But it just so happened that the second I walked up, another guy who ends up being my team leader, how ironic, he comes out. So the door opens and I, instead of asking him for help, like what's my problem, I just walk in. Door slides shut behind me, and I've already said in part 1 that the YG building is dark. So you literally walk in and you're in a stairwell. Like it's not some beautiful lobby, it's a stairwell and it's dark. So my options were to go up the stairs, down the stairs, or into the elevator. And I had no idea what floor I was going to, the name of the person I was meeting. I had no information. So I stand there frozen for a good 10 seconds, probably felt like 10 minutes. But then like my knight in shining armor came back in and was like, how did you get into this building? So he helped me get up to the floor I was supposed to be going on and sat me down in like the safety of like a slightly more well-lit office. It was very traumatic, and I think he felt like he was gonna get in trouble because he was the one who kind of let me just walk by. Yeah, oops, sorry. So fast forward to now I'm at orientation, and as I mentioned, our orientation was in the cafeteria, which is in the basement. So we show up and it's like you walk in and it's the dance studio, and then you walk down the hall a little bit and it's the cafeteria. So we're all sitting in the cafeteria at this point. We were sitting there getting, like they did a PowerPoint presentation, all the YG people were introducing themselves. There were about like 30 people in the room, I would say. And all of a sudden we see, like I'm sitting in kind of in the back of the room, and I see these 3 heads like pop around the corner, and they're like really shy, and they're young. They're definitely like, I mean, they're maybe mid-teens, but I would say preteen. They were just like very tiny, very cute, very like, oh no, like a meeting. They were kind of like trying to get one guy's attention who like worked at YG, and they were like miming, and it turns out they wanted to go to the water machine, which no one was near. It wouldn't have bothered anyone if they like went there, but they were really like, they just didn't know what they were walking into, so they were like really like, can we go get water? So then they like scurried to get water and then scurried out. So again, I don't know who they were. Maybe they were just dancers, maybe they were trainees, maybe they've moved on to other companies. They were definitely 3 young girls that wasn't E-high, because that's the only person I would have recognized at the time. The next thing that happened was really cool. The picture has since been deleted, so I only can show you a screenshot, not a link, but As I mentioned, we were doing a lot of canvassing for Epic High. So passing out a lot of stickers, wearing t-shirts, doing all of that stuff. And we took a group picture together, and I really didn't think anything of it. Just like a small group of us. Some of it was mandatory and some of it was volunteer, and I of course volunteered because what else am I gonna be doing with my time? One day I was sleeping, I was in my dorm, and I must have rolled over and I saw an Instagram notification from one of my friends that tagged me in a photo and was just like, oh my god, Carrie! And so I'm like, oh, it's like 4 a.m. so I like open it, and Tableau had posted a picture, that picture, and he said like, thank you to like the beautiful men and women who were doing this. And I was like, oh, that's me. He has since deleted it. Whatevs. I got a screenshot. The next thing was we went to an MT, as I mentioned in part 1, which is basically like a team retreat, doing all these weird games, and it turns out that my team won some game. I don't remember what the game was. I was actually given free CDs, which is really cool. Like, I know that they probably have a ton of them lying around and it doesn't cost them anything to give them out, but I greatly appreciated that. Then later, very traditional Korean MT style, because you've been drinking a lot, most Korean groups would make ramen. Kind of eat breakfast, you clean up, you leave. So I woke up kind of early in my room, and we had like the girls' room, the boys' room, and the YG people's room. One of the YG people, let's name her Claire. Claire comes in, and I'm like already ready, but she's in her pajamas. Everybody else is kind of like either still asleep or sort of getting ready. Claire comes in and she's like, Carrie, can I borrow you for a minute? Like, she's still in her pajamas. I'm like, we're not gonna go far. So I don't really tell anybody that I'm leaving. I follow her down the hall into what I expect is gonna be her room. But she started walking me towards the elevator. And I was like, am I getting like kicked out? Like, what did I do? Turns out she's taking me to the really ritzy breakfast buffet, because like all the YG employees got to eat at the fancy place. All of the interns were getting traditional ramen, which nobody cares about. It's not like a punishment. They decided to take me along to the buffet because they didn't think foreigners could have ramen for breakfast, which is fine. I don't like ramen. So it was cool to be able to just talk to them one-on-one. But of course the other interns are like, where were you? We were waiting for you. We saved you ramen. And I was like, sorry, I had poached eggs and fruit salad, so you can eat without me. So I felt so bad, but I like genuinely didn't know why I was being like kidnapped for breakfast. So, and now for the Epic High show. So basically, I knew that they were having a secret show to promote the debut of their album. So they were talking about it actually at the MT, and I was asked a lot about the album because it had just come out. I was kind of asked about, you know, other than the singles, what songs would be really great live. I didn't really think about it, but keep in mind, I said Kill This Love would be great live. A week later, I find out that there's actually a contest going on and you can win tickets to the secret show. So I message one of my team leaders, not my Epic High mentor, but my just group leader, the guy who accidentally let me into the YG building. We'll call him Joe. So I messaged Joe. I was like, can I still apply? I really want to go. It's the application was in Korean, but like I'm pretty sure that I did it right. And he was like, oh, okay, let me check. He gets back to me like 5 minutes later, and he's like, oh, it was a raffle and you won. Like, Joe, that's a lie. Like, you're just gonna give me a ticket. It was like, if one person wins, you get to take a friend or something. I don't really remember. But I was like, oh, that's great, 2 tickets, me and my friend. And he was like, oh, oops. Like, okay, wait a second again, because he had only gotten me a ticket, not thinking of my friend. Then he gets back to me and he's like, okay, all the interns are invited. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. Like, more people can go, that's great. But that doesn't solve my friend problem. And I was really like, I just want to be in the raffle. Like, I'm not asking for tickets. Like, I just wanted to be in the raffle. And he was like, just bring her. I really wasn't being pushy. I'm not a pushy person at all. I sent him 3 messages in total. and I got him to give me a ticket, then all the interns a ticket, then my friend a ticket. So he's just a pushover, Joe. So then we all show up at the venue. Since everybody's already been let in, we're kind of in the back. It's a small club, but like we're definitely in the back and we can't really see. But for me, that's fine. Like when I go to concerts, I'm either in the front row, I like show up early and I get in the front row, or I chill in the back and I dance. My intern friend looks at who's guarding the stairs to go upstairs to the YG or the VIP area, and it's his team leader. He's like kind of joking, kind of not, asking him to just let us up. And finally he caves. So like all the YG people are pushovers. Not all of us came. I think there were only like 10 of us. But we all went upstairs, and without even thinking, I see my Epic High team leader and I like run over and give her a hug. So I was just like, ah, and I hugged her. And then she's like, oh my God, you're here? Let me introduce you. And she like pulled over, and DJ Tukus is like chatting. And he's like, oh, hi, like thanks for coming, like in Korean, but still, I'm like, oh no. And then I look over and I see Tablo and his wife and his baby chilling out, and I'm just like, this is not what I asked for. Like I didn't ask for this, I asked for tickets to the show, this is nuts. So then they go downstairs, they perform Kill This Love, and then it all clicks. I'm like, oh, they were asking me about the set list. So that was kind of cool. I'm sure I didn't have the final say, but I think I gave them a tip. It was just like a really, really cool set. And then after the Naver live video part was done, they went off stage, and then they came back and they were like, we're done filming, get the beer. And like they just got beers and they put on like any song you could think of. It was basically like their personal noraebang. At the end, we were all leaving, as was Epic High, and they all kind of greeted us and like said like, you know, like thank you, you worked hard, all this stuff. So I'm just like, it was probably one of the best experiences of my study abroad time. Maybe I'm gonna make another video that might contest this time when I had to perform at a concert, but that's a whole nother story, and it doesn't have to do with YG. It just has to do with being ridiculous in Korea. So now at this point, we've been to a concert for free. They also let us go to the Psy concert for free, but I actually had tickets with my study abroad group. But then we get an email that now we're invited to GD's solo concert. And I'm going from the mentality of the Epic High concert, which was like, we were backstage, we were in VIP. So I'm like, shoot, like what do I wear? Like, are we gonna be backstage? Like we were given little to no information about this, just like show up at this time and we'll give you tickets. That's all. I don't know, I was just kind of freaked out. Turns out everything was okay. We had like very good seats just in the back, but it wasn't anything like, we didn't go backstage, we didn't go meet GD. It was very fine. Again, I mentioned in part 1, I'm not really a YG fan, but this concert really made me appreciate GD. He is such a superstar. Like, that sounds so silly, but it's so true. There was a point we were in, it was at the Olympic Gymnastics Stadium, which is like a pretty big venue. Then there was a certain song, Missing You, and it features a female singer, and the female singer couldn't be there. So instead, they showed an animated music video for it on all of the screens, and then just kind of had her voice coming out of the speakers. This entire time, he had been like running around doing like a usual concert persona, you know, just like super high energy. And then during this song, he just sits down. And then at one point, he goes from that to laying down on the stage. And if you can imagine being him for that moment, like laying down on the stage, looking up at the ceiling where there's nothing, and knowing that there's thousands of people who came here for you, screaming your name, like something about that with him, the fact that he's so at ease on the stage surrounded by thousands of people, like you can't fake that kind of just natural ability to be in the spotlight. It just like kind of gave me the goosebumps, like actually, like I had the chills looking at him just like laying there watching his own screen, you know, like something about that just really kind of solidified the fact that, yeah, GD is, like, he was born to do what he's doing. Like, as someone who was not his biggest fan, I mean, I didn't hate him, I didn't love him, I was indifferent to him. For him to literally give me the chills at a concert. Final story, I promise. This is when we scared Dara half to death. Basically, we had our final meeting in the YG building. And then after that, we were all gonna go together and go get Korean barbecue. One of my fellow interns left her purse in the room that we were in. And then we start to leave and we realize she left her purse. So I go back with her. I'm like a little bit behind her and she just like stops dead in her tracks and she's like, oh no, oh no. And I'm like, what? Like, can we just go get your purse? Like, I'm hungry, like, can we go? I kind of start to walk ahead and she's like, no, oh no. So I like look, in YG, they're like little cubicle offices. They're like little glass cubes where you can have meetings. She had left her purse in one of these cubes and now who's in it but Dara and someone else, like someone we knew, but still Dara. So my intern friend is just like, what the, I can't interrupt a meeting with anyone, like what do I do? And so at this point, kind of word has spread because like she must have said Dara and then someone else heard Dara, so then all of a sudden our like other interns, especially the guys, like come running in. And so we're all in this like dark hallway, peeking around the corner, looking at Dara, thinking like, what do we do? How do we get her purse? Like what? Dara's literally like sitting on the purse. Like she is like the purse was on the chair. Dara sat in the chair. Like we're like, what the, like, oh no, like what have we done? Dara isn't facing us, but the person we know is. And she like looks at us and is like, oh, haha, like what are you doing? And Dara turns to just see like 5 or 6 strangers standing in this dark hallway peering around at her, and she's like, oh, and she like jumps, and it was really, really, she like recovered quickly and like laughed, realizing that there was no danger. But yeah, she was freaked out. And then I think it all like clicked and she was like, I'm sitting on a purse. She was like, oh, here you go, like, hi, nice to meet you. She spoke in English. She said, hi, nice to meet you. And then we left. She seriously was just like freaked out. I totally would have been too. But it was her own fault for sitting on my friend's purse. Come on. Okay, anyway, those were my stories. If you have any more questions, please just let me know in the comments down below and I will try and answer them really fast. Also, like I said, I'm in the process of moving. So hopefully my next video will be introducing you to my new apartment, and after that I mentioned this briefly in here, but I also want to share with you a really funny concert experience I had. Basically, I performed at Dream Concert. We were backstage and we were practicing with all of the K-pop idols, so I have a lot of stories from that too that I want to share with you guys. We went on stage basically like with EXO, so like when they were all 12, so yeah, it was just like really, really crazy. B1A4 are the nicest guys ever, Sistar are the nicest girls ever, Rainbow are super sweet. Like basically I just want to talk about how great everybody is. I will make that video soon as well. So if you like this video, please actually like it down below and subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm going to try and get a lot better with posting up content. If you have any questions about just generally living in Korea, doing a non-teaching job in Korea, I'm also going to be doing some stuff about that. So if you have questions about anything, leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, maybe in this apartment, maybe in another apartment, maybe in Japan, because I'm going to Japan in a week. Thank you for watching.